state capital. This is your Capital Connection.
Welcome to Capital Connection. I'm Mark Maxwell. We have a long lineup of lawmakers for you this week, so we're going to jump right in. Joining us now is Senator Martin Sandoval from the southwest side of Chicago, near the Midway Airport. Senator, good to have you with us.
Great to be here with you.
You're leading the charge on a lot of these proposals for a capital bill. So there's the budget discussions, which the state has focused on for years, but there's something we haven't done in nearly a decade, which is funding roads, bridges, transportation, finding enough money somewhere for this big capital bill.
So job number one is going to fill the gap on trying to find, raise revenue for the operating budget. So we have to get past legalizing recreational cannabis, legalizing sports betting, passing on plastic bag tax. Let's take care of the operational side. But then there's the capital bill. And so, we've been holding hearings throughout the state since January in a bipartisan way with Leader Don DeWitt. And so, investing in our infrastructure is not something that we just woke up one night and said, we need to do this. And we just need to, find revenue to pay for it. People from business to commerce to educators to mayors to local residents are saying, listen, we're tired of the potholes, we're tired of the congestion,
right.
We're tired of our slow trains. We just went through a polar vortex in Chicago. People were lighting bonfires to keep the switching yards alive and well.
So you're outlining some of the problems. The things you mentioned early on, those are the yearly annual obligations the State House and the legislature must pass every year. You got to make a budget. But a capital plan is really at will, right? You don't have to pass one this year. Are you committed to putting votes on the board to making a capital plan happen this year, even if it requires going into extra overtime session?
I'm proposing a transformational model to the way we invest in our infrastructure. I'm proposing a capital bill that does away with coming back to Springfield every 10 years to find revenue to invest in our trains, and our roads, and our bridges, and our highways. It is a capital bill with a dedicated revenue stream that is tied to inflation from here on out. So we don't have to do this every 10 years.
But it's going to cost, so for months, people have laid out the case, looking at potholes and roads and bridges. The bridge in Chicago that had that crumbling beam. The separation there. And downstate, of course, we're familiar with a lot of those complaints. So we know that the list of needs is long, but the price tag to pick up the tab for all that is quite large. The bill you proposed this week, $2.4 billion in taxes. That includes doubling the gas tax from 19 cents a gallon to 44 cents, more than double. Doubling the driver's license fee from $30 to $60. The vehicle registration fee from $98 to $148. And electric vehicles, this was interesting. To register an electric vehicle costs $17.50 now. Your proposal would raise that to $1,000. How do you explain that?
It's cheaper to get a license for an electric vehicle today than it is to buy a pack of cigarettes. There's a problem with that. Listen, we need to invest in our infrastructure. We need to treat our roads, highways, and bridges.
But why was it important to single out electric cars? I think the answer may be obvious to some, but maybe not everybody knows.
Pretty obvious, as you know, that, listen, if you're going to use the roads, you should pay.
And they're not paying a motor fuel tax.
No, they're not. So, listen, I'm for saving the ozone layer. I'm for being green. At the same time, if you're going to use the roads, you should pay your fair share. The reality is, look, Washington isn't doing their job. Congress and our past presidents have not raised the motor fuel tax in over 25 years. It's their responsibility. Highways, roads, bridges are a shared mutual responsibility. They have failed the people of Illinois by not raising the gas tax in over 25 years.
How do you land on 44 cents, though? Wouldn't that make Illinois one of the, if not the most expensive gas tax in the state, in the country?
Since 2012, more than 29 states have raised gas tax.
Not to 44 cents.
That's a starting point for a conversation. It's a negotiation.
So you'll go down from there.
It's a negotiation that's going to be had in a bipartisan way.
What's your bottom line? How low would you go?
Yeah, anywhere around 19, 20 cents.
Well, that's where extra.
No.
Because right now it's at 19 cents.
Yeah.
And you're saying you'd go back down?
I think that's a negotiation.
Yeah.
Not to exceed 25 cents.
So let's talk about some of the different projects that we can pay for or we can expect to see, in addition to just roads and bridges, which is sort of a general promise that construction crews will get back to work and paving roads and all that. But there's also this promise of a south suburban airport. Your district is near Midway. Midway's in your district. right? And
correct.
Speaker Madigan's House district also right there in that same neck of the woods. But there's a South Suburban airport that has been discussed, I think dating back to 1987 it was first discussed, and then in 2012 there were some proposals. But now there's a request, including has Speaker Madigan's support, to spend $150 million out of this $2.4 billion you propose to raise on fixing up I-57, adding new construction there to make this airport happen. Are you supportive of this plan, and why is it necessary?
I think that if it's an economic investment that much needed in that regional part of the state, I think if it's viable and it has significant support and makes it to the final draft of the bill, yes, I support that. You know, whether it's downstate, upstate, east or west, if the leaders of the different sectors of our state believe that there is a project, a transportation infrastructure project that'll have benefits to the economic recovery of that region, yeah, I'm for that.
All right, Senator Sandoval, thank you very much for joining us. Speaker Madigan had some rare comments this week about the obstacles that lie ahead in legalizing cannabis. We'll hear from a Republican senator who wants to support it, but isn't quite there yet. Stick around.